guy, he was like, "Hey, yo, my man, what's up, my man?" Like, those American. Okay, so the
Why
next
did she
question,
ask that question?
yes,
Or
and the next
based on the
question was,
Tarzan character?
do people in Africa
Oh,
live
okay.
on trees?
Pictures. I remember when
Exactly.
you see the
Yeah.
picture, you were the only black person among the
And
white people. It's like
yeah,
zombie,
yeah,
zombie,
yeah, yeah. That's
and
it's
yeah,
nostalgic
I
because
remember.
like it's interesting that you mentioned that because that made me feel a bit of so the challenge that I had with regard to race and color, skin color, was I began to feel inferior in terms of like skin tone, especially in school. So that picture that we'll project here is the only picture I took when I was in the Philippines because I felt so blacker. Like I know I'm black. I felt so darker standing by them, right? So I didn't take it.
But the funny thing is that when you came to Odogono, you
Of
were
course,
looking fresh out. I mean, those days when you came to
like
Odogono, yeah, we saw
they
you
saw me
to be
Obroni,
challenged.
Obroni,
This
yeah.
guy is so fresh,
Yeah,
with your
yeah. But
started those days.
when I went there, like especially when I started school, I felt too dark to want to take any pictures. Like so, I became camera shy. Like that's the word,
Mm,
and that was one of the challenges that
yeah,
yeah, that's one of the challenges
I
that I
mean
had.
it's
So, like even walking through town, like most of the activities that we did as a family was to go to the mall, right? And so we'll normally walk through the mall, and I think we'll be the like I think we met only one black person, like as a family in church, and he was
wow.
even married to a Filipina woman, right?
Mm,
And I think he was from Nigeria also, and
okay.
also um, there was a lady that came to braid my mom's hair. That was another person, and in school, um, there was so when we went to school, there was only one Nigerian in school. So he was the only black. And he even left
Wow.
immediately, like the year that we entered school, that's the year that he graduated. So my younger brother and I were the only blacks in school. So
Wow.
yeah, our day-to-day
Wow.
life was mostly people stopping us. And because like we were talking about media, I think that with Hollywood and with American media had penetrated even to the Asian. So the only resemblance or knowledge of black that they had was black Americans. Yes, black Americans.
Was in those
So
American
they
movies, Black
presumed,
Americans.
like there was a lot of
Okay.
presumptions. They presumed that we were black Americans. So one of the vivid like instances that I recall a lot was when we walked through the mall, like they will stop and whatever they are doing and they'll point at us. Some of them will giggle, some of them will. There was one guy, he was like, "Hey, yo, my man, what's up, my man?" Like, those American jargon. Yes, yes. So they
They want
presume
to
that
call you a nigga,
we were Americans. Some of them will also come, touch our skin, try and see like, like why is our skin different? Are
They
you
are very
there?
curious. It's like, no, this is too
Yes, yes, different from.
different from
Is
what
it?
we have.
Yeah,
So
is
they
it
want
like
to
a
check, they
paint?
want to confirm. What is it like? Maybe when they touch your
Yes,
skin,
is it
you
like a
even off.
paint? They'll touch our hair. So even on in school, in during class, some of my classmates will come and touch my hair to feel the texture because it's different. Someone put a pen in my hair and then it stayed, and it was like, wow, your hair is so strong. It like so it became a game. Like yeah. So for me, I didn't like because I think I was a bit knowledgeable. I saw that it was lack of like
Hmm.
knowledge about where I was coming from. Yeah, lack of knowledge because, like we said,
Lack
they
of
didn't have any
knowledge.
encounter with any
Yeah.
like black content or like African. Let's put it that way, African content. So that was
Yeah.
so for me. I took it. I took it like I was a celebrity, especially when I was in town. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
that
My
is a
brother
cultural
didn't
mix
take
and
it
cultural
well. He
shock.
hated it. He felt like he was being bullied. Yeah. I took it with a good faith in the sense that I felt like I was a celebrity. So, yes, yeah, come to me, talk to me, ask me where I'm from. And another vivid interaction was when an old lady came to me and was like, "Hey, where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Africa, Ghana." I was like, "Oh, Africa." And immediately the first question that came out of her mouth was, "So is Tarzan real?" Yeah. And yeah, I don't
Oh,
know. You did. Tarzan
what was
is
Tarzan? I've
the movie
forgotten what it
character
means.
who stayed.
Yeah, I know something, but I'm trying to.
Okay, so the
Why
next
did she
question,
ask that question?
yes,
Or
and the next
based on
question
the
was,
Tarzan character?
do people in Africa
Oh,
live
okay.
on trees? So that was the like that
Oh,
was the next question
congratulations!
that came with the reference of because Tarzan lived in the forest, and
Wow.
so you see, like we said, a lot of
But just this is
six,
something that happened
yes,
in 2000
yes,
and what 6 thereabout. So
yes,
that is
that's
quite a couple of years
yes,
ago. So people should
17
understand it's not
years
that
ago,
current.
almost
It's
17
quite
years ago, yeah,
17
yeah,
years ago. Okay. Yeah. So it's quite. We are just trying
yes,
to let you know our experience. That's why we said this show
definitely.
is going to be an interesting conversation because we've had several experiences, both
Oh yeah, majority
back
of our
in
yes, yeah, in
Ghana. We
Ghana,
spent
yeah,
so much of our years in Ghana. I mean, we yes, I think
yeah,
in
two
the
and a half years, yeah,
Philippines you've been there just for 2 years,
yeah.
and before you came back, then I mean we've been in
Mm,
Europe for almost 5.5 years
yeah.
now, and we are in our 30s, early 30s. So obviously, I mean we spent 20-25 of our years all in Ghana. So these are just some of the little experiences. Not all of us will get that opportunity
Yeah,
to kind of have these kind of experiences. So we are sharing, you know. But we will get back to
yeah,
Philippines because there are a few things that are
yeah.
interesting there.
So
Now come back
yeah,
to Ghana.
interaction was
Then
yeah,
our
yeah.
first
So
point
talking
of
about
meeting.
that,
How
yeah.
did
So
we
my
come?
family came
Yeah,
back to Ghana, and then I had to find like I should have like gone to college, but because of the difference in curriculum, we thought it wise as a family to like kind of because I was left with the yeah, I was left
yeah,
with
that
a
was
year to
just kind
finish
of
high school and go to college. Yeah, so and then so the funny thing is that one of my at the time that we came back to Ghana, I think high school was in the second term, no, second year, second term or so. Yeah, it wasn't the admission year, it wasn't the admission month or year.
yeah, yeah. Because I remember when you came, we were in
Level
our second term
two,
level
two because yes, SSA two
SHS.
because
Was
that
this
was
SHS
when
two
we
when
were
you
doing
came?
the 4 years.
Yeah,
I think
second
first
year,
term,
but
probably first
first
term.
term
Yeah,
or
first
second
term.
term.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's first term. Yeah, but definitely it
Yes,
was second.
yes,
I
yes.
remember it was
SHS.
we were SHS two when you came actually. That
Oh,
was no, we were actually. You know what is confusing me? You know when we went to Odogono or
oh
in
yes,
our time
yes.
when we were implementing, we started the 4 years. So why I'm confusing SHS two is because in the first year, actually it's not SHS two I was trying to talk about.
Yes.
Now we were in second year in our science class. But what is confusing me is that
Mm-hmm.
in our first year in Odogono Senior High, our batch started
Okay.
I think that is 2007. We started the 4 years. So what happened was that we were so many that we had SHS one, SHS two, all the way to I think SHS 11.
SHS
You
11.
know, and
Okay.
I think
SHS
yeah, up to
11.
SHS 11. Yeah, we were many. Yes, but that was first year. Yeah, that
Okay.
was
Oh,
first year.
for the
So the number
classrooms.
of
Okay, okay,
students
okay,
were
okay.
so
Yes.
much that we
Yes. Okay.
for the classroom. So that was what was confusing. You know, Charlie, we finished SHS to
Yeah.
almost how many years now?
Yeah.
Almost
We
15
finished
years, more
Odogono
than 15 years when we finished
2011.
senior high school.
Yes. Yeah. So 14
We finished
years.
in
Almost 14 years.
2011, right? 14 years. So it's quite a lot. So you have to pardon me, Charlie. But what was confusing me was the fact that my mind was thinking
Yes.
SHS2 means we're in second year. No, it was still first year. But we had different classes. Okay. So you
Yes.
came when we were in
Second.
second year.
Yes.
Second year. You came when we were in second year. But
Yes.
then
Yeah. You
we
have
were in our
broken
science. I
up
was in the science class,
your
yeah.
specialties. Yeah.
Because you know what? The funny thing was that yes, because the funny thing was the
Mm-hmm.
first year in our 4 year cycle, we were not given our main programs. We were more or
Definitely.
less like
Yeah.
just shared across the classrooms, technically. So if you were in SHS1, SHS2, you really don't know whether you are going to do science, even though we came with our programs. Because, I mean, when you were coming, GES had shown what program you're supposed to do. People are doing business, general arts. But the first year, because the 4 years was not properly implemented, to say, the first year was more of like, we were just all of us were learning everything together to France, you know.
Yeah.
And
So So
yeah,
even
that's true. So when
how I
second year
came to Odogono was one of my mom's friends recommended that we go to Odogono because they had just moved. I didn't know where Odogono was, but I was told that they had just moved to a new site, and it was a model school. And because we didn't know the Odogono, my mom was like, forget about it. And then it became a challenge, and so we went to GS, Ghana Educational Service. And because I think I had an uncle who was part of the, I don't know, board of directors or the big people in St. Peter's. So he was trying to get me to, but we went to GS for like a letter or something, but they were like, no, it's not possible. They're in the second year. And so we're like, so help us. And they were like, it's only Odogono. That's because they moved to a new site, and then they have a lot of classrooms, and like they can take faith. Yes,
and that was actually faith. That was actually faith.
Yes, I mean, destiny, as in destiny.
Faith. Yeah, as in faith, destiny. You know, that was destiny that was playing out right there in front of you. You know. Sometimes you don't
definitely. So then I came to Odogono. Even the headmistress was like, no, it's gonna be a challenge, but then with the back and forth, and then they accepted me, and they were like, what do you want to do? Because I was groomed to either become a pharmacist or a doctor. I was like, I want to do general science. I want to, and then they brought me to the science class. So that was how, I think was our first instance in the classroom, or was it in the boarding school? Well, it was in the classroom. Okay,
it was in the classroom, because I think if I remember, it was in the classroom. You were brought, and we saw this. I mean, slim guy with some spectacle, kind of. Yeah, you were doing some dadaba shaggy there. And then they brought, because you were in the class, and then you came with your bag. I think, I don't know whether Ariba was.
That's what I'm trying to think. Whether it was Ariba who brought me, or like it was someone else.
Yeah, it was like Ariba who brought you, because the teacher who brought you, if I recollect, actually 14 years. If I recollect, the teacher who brought you make some funny comments.
Okay.
When he brought you,
I think that was Ariba.
I'm very sure it will be Ariba, because because if the teacher would like teasing with the science student,
that guy made a comment he made the name.
I think he made a comment like,
"It's not popular." He was like, "This guy."
Yes, very good. Because I remember when he brought you, he said, "Well, we brought you one of your." He made a comment for, he used to tease us that we, the science, we are learning to become medical doctors, but we won't become medical doctors. We will become. There's a term he has been using. I forgot. If I remember, I'll just put it across. So I think it was Ariba who brought you to the class, and I mean, everybody was like, "Hey, it's Charlie." And I think he also made a comment that you are coming from the Philippines, and so there was some interesting discussion that went on there. But I was also thinking that the Gaza was given to you by.
Was it Sultan or Alfred? Because Sultan. I know that Gaglo Alfred was the one who used to tease me a lot with Gaza.
No, I think it was Sultan, because it is either Sultan or Gaglo. I used to call him Agaglo, Alfred Gaglo. But I think it was Sultan who gave you that name, because that guy was full of teasing. And he and Bolabed, you know Bolabed?
I remember the name.
You remember Bolabed?
You
should know. The first name is trying to skip me. He's a very good friend of
Bernard. Is it Bernard?
Oh, Bolabed. No, it's not Bernard. He has the name will come. I'll give you the name. Bolabed, if you are watching that, Charlie, I beg you, just give a comment and then we remember your name. Oh, you know him. He was one slim guy, always working with Sultan and sometimes Redemption.
He has big eyes
a lot, and and then
Because I know Redemption's closest friend.
not too big guys. No. That is the guy who there is Redemption. There is my vice president, SRC vice president.
No, not Felix. Not Felix. There's another
Felix.
one.
There was Felix.
Okay.
No, I don't know Felix. They were in a group of 4, actually. So Sultan, no, not Sultan.
Yeah.
Redemption, Felix,
Yeah, Gabby.
and Gabby is the one that I think we are trying to do. Yeah, but not Gabby. There's another one. I think later he himself had a nickname, Promiscuous or something. But it was our biology teacher who gave him the name Bolabed.
Man, school, just yeah.
I'll remember the name. Along the way. So yeah. So that was
that
the
is
first
like interaction.
and
I think from like how you encountered me, but for you, when do you recall was the first time we spoke on campus? Because I don't have a good memory of that. Because when I came, I was really quiet because and to myself.
Very quiet.
Were
Very
you also
quiet.
in the because
Very
when
quiet.
I came,
I
there was
think-
lack of beds in the dormitory, in the boys' dormitory. So I was placed in the prefect, the school prefect.
Did you come
course,
before we did
yes.
the prefect election
Way
for our
before.
year?
Yeah.
So you were
I
there,
was there.
so you actually voted.
Yeah.
Okay. So then it means that
Yes,
you were
senior
placed in Senior
topic
Taufik's,
room. Topic
how do you
and
call
yes.
prefect,
Topic and
yeah, dormitory.
what's his name? Vincent. So that was my first also encounter with Vincent. Vincent
Vincent.
disciplined me even on my first night.
Who later
Business
became
partners, exactly.
one of our business partners for the very first attempt to become millionaires.
Yeah,
We will
you
tell you
come on
about
board. Yeah,
Our very first attempt to become
Yeah.
millionaires was 2014, and Senior Vincent,
Yeah.
who happened to be our senior back in senior high school,
mentors and
happened to become one of our
business partners.
business partners,
Yeah.
one of the owners of that business that
Mentioned.
we really
Yeah,
we
but
nearly became
we
millionaires
will
for.
still become millionaires. It's in the
So-
pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah, we will talk about that. But I think that our very first interaction was in the classroom. I can't recollect clearly, but I'm saying that because because of my disposition at the time. At those times, we normally, because of scripture union, we normally try to interact with people who come first year, so that who are fresh in the school,
Okay.
so we can be able to bring them to scripture union. So I can't sharply remember whether it was in the class or outside the class, but I am very confident that Ezekiel might be somebody who can maybe probably recollect. But I'm very sure our first interaction, especially myself and you, will be in the classroom. Probably we came around to say, Charlie,
I don't recall having so
kind
much
of thing.
interaction with you
Yeah,
in the
because-
classroom. That's the thing. Yeah.
No, not in the classroom. Yes, I think our major
Okay,
interaction happened
yeah,
through
okay.
Ezekiel. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, that Ezekiel will have a better,
Okay.
maybe a sharper memory about how it's orchestrated. But our major close interaction, like frequent interaction, happened through Ezekiel, because I remember
Yeah.
those
He's the
times.
first
Ezekiel was
friend
much closer
I
to
made.
you.
Yeah.
Even though in the classroom you were,
Yeah.
even though you were very quiet in the classroom,
Yeah.
I think he was
Yeah.
able to get a bit much closer to you. You had a lot of interaction, and because Ezekiel was already a friend of mine, more like a party, and because of scripture union stuff. So through that interaction, we started kind of after school, and that was how it started. But I think that much of the interaction, because whenever Ezekiel is coming for maybe scripture, you normally come with him, and sometimes also maybe when we met in the dormitory and all kinds of stuff. But I think also that
Yeah, I came straight to the boarding
you
house.
came straight to the boarding house,
and
right?
I was speaking to the prefect room.
Yes, because I think you. Yes, I can't remember, but
Okay,
I think you
okay.
came to the boarding house before me,
Mhm.
because that time I was a day student. But was it in university? I think Form 2. I don't remember exactly when we started the Form 2, then I came to the boarding house after some time. I can't really.
Yeah, it
recall
is what
but
it is.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. 14 years is quite a long journey. But I remember that much of our personal interaction started in the boarding house,
Yeah.
and through scripture union. So that was where the interaction, much of it, I mean, the better
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
it started when I
Definitely.
became a senior prefect. That was when we had
Yes.
more kind of
Yeah.
rapport. We were building a lot of rapport because we normally used to stay after school when the school is on vacation. Some of you, the prefect, we stay to learn and to,
Yes.
we made the boarding house our home, and we had a very beautiful and like a very understanding headmistress and a very
Yeah.
a very lovely senior house staff. You know,
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Texan, Mrs. Gardner,
Yeah.
all the house masters,
Open.
they were very friendly with us. They were like our fathers, you know. So I think much of getting to like become more friendly and become more than friends, like brothers, started when
Yeah.
we
During
were
vacation.
going for more of this during vacations, when we kind of sometimes stay. And I remember there was a time your mom came to visit you, brought food, Chalet, you invited us. I
Yes,
think
food is
food
a
is a
yeah.
very good. I think that was
I
where the
think that
whole thing started.
my mom made me a lot of friends by that
Because
I'm not so good of a
yes,
eater.
yes,
You know, my mom being an Ashanti.
yes. I remember even when your mom, there was one time your mom brought a lot of food. I think
Yeah.
there was fufu, abenkwan,
Yes.
banku, and
Yes.
okra. There was a lot of food, and I remember you brought your dormitory. I think somebody came to call me that I was invited to come and eat. We came. It's like you now. You were not chopping the food. I think there was some PC or something also. You were not chopping the food. It's like now the food belongs to you. You are not chopping. And I think there was a time I was like, I think Ableto was part of it. And then and I think there was one also. This guy Regina was part of it. And I was like, why are you people eating more than the one who is supposed to be eating the food? You know?
Yeah, of
That
course.
was a very interesting.
Yeah, and for my mom, it was more of
Yeah.
like creating like good friendship also for me. So
yeah. And it did the magic. I won't
Yeah.
lie to you, because you were quite a shy person. Your very first
Yeah.
year in Odogono, I would say you were a bit more quiet. But later, if you later became somebody who loved food, I think it's the boarding house that made you to love food. And the kind of people you had around you, we were eaters, you know, we were gluttons. And sometimes it's not just because we want to eat, but because we found a way of trying to bond together with each other. Yourself, myself, Ezekiel, Ableto, that group, you know. And one of the things we normally did was to eat together, to buy food, especially when school is on recess and we stay in the boarding house. It's like we kind of
I think that's where the
very interesting,
friendship
very
was
interesting.
really like glued and Beth, because like they said a friend in need is a friend indeed. You know, during those times, like we had to bring our resources together because we stayed over school, and you know, when school was vacated, we don't have the canteen working again, and so that brought like even Jesus, he ate with his disciples.
That was what I was going to say. Even in the Bible, you realize that, I don't know which scripture is that, but there is always a saying that the way to the heart of a prophet or of a man of God is through what? Food. I don't know. There's a saying we used to have like that, and people were making reference to the story of
and Isaac,
Esau and Isaac and when he made a venison for the father, and then the blessings, you know. So food has a very important
in social settings.
In so many things. Food is for me
bonding.
For social settings. Food can also be just like fire, where fire can be a good servant, and at the same time a bad master.
Poison you.
Food is the same. People can kill people through food.
It's all
people can also
lost his birthright
you know?
through food,
so
like all those things. So it's true.
So it's one of those elements that
that's why when it even comes
bond,
to social settings,
so when it is
like of a culture of a country, one of the things that are highlighted in like the culture of the people is the food. Like
I mean, culture is defined as the way of life, and the way of life is basically
the type of food,
how we do things. So the way we eat, the way we dress, the way we talk. I mean, and some of the cultures are there. We pick them and we drop some. We learn them. That is why when we talk about the Philippines issue, I mean, you made a point, like statement, like there was a culture shock. I mean, you will be shocked about something that you don't have interaction with, you know. But over time, today, I mean, there are so many I mean, they say that one of the characteristics of culture is that it is dynamic, such that you can pick things and drop things. And we used to learn these things in social media. I mean, in social studies back then, that there are things we call outmoded culture,
a whole lot
and
of
what
things,
kind of, I mean,
so it was more of like the food
stuff,
and the time spent away from like normal school activities, like staying behind school. And so I think that's what, and because we also like shared a lot of interest, like in leadership, like you said, you were part of the scripture union eventually, and then later became the school prefect. And then I also eventually became vice president of one of the religious organizations or social denomination on campus. So I think we shared a lot of personal, like through the interactions, like even through food, because when you eat, you talk a lot, right? People converse over food. And so I think that with time we realize that we think alike and we share a lot of personal interests, right? And so I think that gradually we find ourselves gearing towards like wanting to pursue or venture into the same things, right? Because I remember even when there were like social programs where they want like people to go to events for the school, to represent the school on behalf of the school, like we will be in those groups.
Almost always the same time. We are almost the same contingents that are being sent outside the school for program. I remember fast forward saying, so at the end of the day, we were science students, okay? We were science students, but myself and Ezekiel, we were the debaters. We were the chief debaters of the school. We were not in the science and maths quiz club,
club.
Even though we were science, we were the people who were debating for the school. So it just came to show our flair in leadership. I remember Ezekiel and myself, we constantly stood for the school. This independence debate, any kind of debate that they invite Odogono Senior High School. It was myself and Ezekiel, and we've won a couple of awards for the school in that regard. So it just, before even I became a school prefect, I was debating. I mean, our seniors, that is Taufik's group, they were ahead of us. But when the debate came, it was always Ezekiel and myself. And then, I mean, when Taufik was also there, he was doing most of that. But at the point when they were preparing for the Awasi, the matter automatic. I don't even know how it happened, but that is a testament of how leadership sometimes can flow naturally. Because I just can't remember how I was called to go and debate for the school, because that time I wasn't even a school prefect yet. My first debate, I wasn't a school prefect.
Did you have an opportunity to like maybe proofread, edit, do any editorial works?
No, I think what probably,
because I know you were close to Taufik, and I don't know.
Yes, I was very close to Taufik. So what happened is that I think I attended one or two debates that Taufik went to have with another group. So normally when you are going for this debate, they select some students to go and support the debate, the team that is debating. I think I went to one or two with them, but I also think that I will attribute that to two major things. One, I think grace. I think it's the grace. I mean, when God, and that will tell me how. Actually, the first time in my life that I heard the voice of God, very silent, was the very first day I stepped my feet in Odogono Senior High School. I mean, some people who are close to me, yourself, you know about this. The very first time I heard the voice of God silently in my entire life, that was the very first time in my life, was the very first day I stepped my feet on Odogono campus, just at the entrance. Because like yourself, I've never heard of Odogono Senior High School. I never chose it as my school because I've never heard of it. So I couldn't even tell the beautiful and I couldn't even tell the great things in Odogono at the time because I've not heard of it. And that is what happens to many schools. There are so many great schools there, but people don't hear of them, so they don't know. So even myself, the same story. So that's something that destiny was aligning. I chose Laboni Senior High School. I was supposed to go to senior high in 2006, but unfortunately, due to one or two circumstances, I couldn't go. So I had to go to secondary school in 2007 instead of 2006. And so when the time was due for me to go, I went back to the school I was giving, and they told me, no, the place is full. They cannot admit me. All kinds of, pressure here and there. So I also had to go back to the GES. And then my senior sister who is in the States, We went together. She was trying all her best, just like the way your uncle and your mom was also trying
Wow.
to get to the so-called big schools. We tried and tried and tried, and then the deputy director or whoever it was at the time said, it's difficult, it's difficult, it's difficult, it's difficult. But there is a great school that is coming out, modern school. Then they said Odogono Senior High School. They might have changed my face.
Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing.